Good evening, everyone. Let me make sure that y'all can hear me. A lot of my NQ shorts just got filled. Not expecting that for a little bit yet. Oh well. Let's take a look here. What do we got going on? I'm doing well, Ro. Thank you. I wish I would have brought it down. My wife is having another child. We just found that out today. Well, we found out a little bit ago, but we had the ultrasound, so 7 weeks along, 136 beats per minute. Just a itty bitty guy. Which is great because our 15-month-old, like, if it was a role playing game, today I wanted to re roll my child because, oh man. He learned the gesture that stomping feet and screaming really loud makes the big people do things that you want them to do. It's really effective. Really, really effective. Give it a couple more minutes and then we're going to get started. All right, I'm going to pull this up first. Just from my attorney, just in case. Disclosure. I gotta do this. I'm very bad at remembering to do this. Is the quality okay? I want to see if I can pull up another. Oh yeah, it looks great. Looks pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Gann analysis. Just because I've referenced it a lot over the last couple of weeks, talking about turns in markets and all that jazz, and I am primarily a Gann analyst when it comes to. I'm a point and figure trader, but Gann analysis is predominantly the style of analysis I do, and a lot of people have heard of Gann before, and most people are familiar with Gann and because of some tools that are available. So, like in TradingView, there's the Gann box. All right. By default, it looks not like that. It looks like this. Okay. Like, yeah, what is that? Also, TradingView does not adjust this for log. Like, they don't leave it static. You have to square a chart when using Gann analysis. But that's a Gann box. And Gann didn't have a Gann box. Okay. There's also, they use these tools called a Gann fan. Gann did not have a Gann fan. What else is in here? So different charting platforms have different things like Gann square fixed. All right, like that. That is not something that he had. So what I'm saying is that like these tools with these names are things that other people labeled and then like took from his work. So if any of you are familiar with Gartley patterns, Gartley harmonics, Gartley never ever did anything with harmonics, really. Gartley talked about fib swing structures, but it was really Scott Carney who took Gartley's work and then expanded on it, and that's where we get these patterns called like bat, crab, butterfly. The cipher is not a Scott Carney pattern. It's not even a harmonic pattern really, but it gets lumped in because it looks like it's just a bunch of triangles on a screen. So obviously it looks like it. It must be, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm getting on a ranty thing here, but let's just kind of dive into it. If you take anything away from Gann analysis, it is not about angles and geometry. That is part of it, but the most important part of you roll a 20. The most important part of Gann analysis is the study of time, and recognizing that time factors are really ultimately the most important part of his work and his focus. So let's look at let's just kind of dive right into this here. Okay. So, and technical analysis in general is kind of weird. So the Chartered Market Technicians Association, if you're not familiar with it, the CMT, they have a certification that you can get. They work in close conjunction with the CFA, the Chartered Financial Analysts. So these are like really like big nerd certifications that are really important in the finance world. The CMT is the technical analysis equivalent of the CFA. Technical analysis is an established form of financial analysis. It's a growing form of financial analysis, and people who think technical analysis is stupid, they sound kind of like people who thought that I don't know, like electricity was bad or that automobiles were bad. It really, to me, it sounds like you're stuck on your horse and buggy and you don't want to try something new. Technical analysis is very much an established field of finance, and there's no getting away from it. But it is different from from traditional fundamental analysis, okay? Because technical analysts believe that you can predict future price action based on past price action. All right. Now, I'm not saying that every other theory in technical analysis or in financial analysis, I'm not saying that Gann theory is the only right way. But what I am saying is I'm right. I'm not saying anybody else is wrong. I'm just saying that every other theory out there, I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying that I'm right. Okay, that's all I'm saying about that. So the EMH, not the emergency medical hologram, the EMH, efficient market hypothesis, basically says this, that it's the theory that the current price of an underlying instrument, so let's say it's Apple, whatever price it was trading at today, that is the best deal you're going to get. Okay, the theory is that all known and unknown information has already been priced in. Okay, to me, the EMH sounds a lot like lazy broker talk. Just take the money from the customer and buy stuff with it. Okay, what's a good time to buy it? Today. Just buy it today. Why? It's the best price you're gonna get for it. Are you sure? Yes, because that's what we were taught. It's just today is always the best day. Well, what if it's bad tomorrow? Doesn't matter. That's the best day too. It's just dumb. Technical analysis is the antithesis of the EMH because it teaches that we can predict with a high level of certainty future price behavior based on past price behavior. I remember my wife, she was listening to one of my sessions a couple of years ago, and she said, "What was that you said about you can't use past behavior to predict future behavior?" And I said, "Yeah, that's what the efficient market hypothesis says. That's what traditional like news guys on Fox Business and CNBC. Well, actually, they're getting more technical analysts on there now, but like they say that you can't predict future behavior by by past behavior. And my wife is a psychologist. She's a PsyD, not a PhD. She's a PsyD. Um, and she says that's ridiculous because the only way that we can predict future behavior is by analyzing past behavior, which makes sense because there's a reason why um, kids who bang cats up against walls and bash their brains in. We try to intervene because we don't want them to turn into like a Ted Bundy. Okay. We just know that kids who hurt animals end up hurting humans later. Not all the time, but there's a pretty high chance that that kid is going to be a serial killer. All right. Just a really high chance. Lagging information. So all financial analysis is lagging. Fundamental analysis is the epitome of lagging analysis. It is just the epitome of lagging analysis. It is the most lagging of lagging analysis. Technical analysis is still lagging, but not as bad. 98% of technical analysis. I don't know where that number comes from. I just made it up because it just seems like most of it is. Gann analysis is a form of leading analysis, meaning that its intent is to project forward um, inflections of time. So here's just a little sneak peek into it, okay? In Gann theory, we believe as Gannists that time is the reason that trends change, okay? Just time, all right? And the other part is that news does not matter, all right? And I want you to think about this for a second because in point and figure analysis, it teaches the same thing, that news does not matter. Let's use just something right now. Terrorist attack in Afghanistan. Markets really haven't done anything, right? But if the market sold off 5%, what would that be blamed on? The unrest in Afghanistan. Then everybody would like the news people and individuals in general would just snowball and say, well, this has to do with the president. And then they'd be like, oh, that's inflation and blah, blah, blah. It's like all these fears. Like they just snowball. News is something that is an excuse that people cling to find for a reason why something happened. All right. There's this old school phrase in that technical analysts say that technicals lead fundamentals, meaning that the market is generally always positioned technically for the biggest move already. It's like if let's use stocks for example. Let's say Apple had amazing earnings. Their forward guidance is amazing. Just everything's going on, but it doesn't do anything. All right. Well, why didn't it move? Everything, if all the news was good, it doesn't matter. If price does not move, everything else is anecdotal. Okay, everything else is anecdotal. News does not matter. Yes, news does have short-term fluctuations on prices. That's just normal human behavior to certain events, but it doesn't have any difference on overall price changes. And if you don't believe me, a really smart dude. This is required reading for the Chartered Market Technicians certification. Behavioral finance, big, thick book, really important stuff. But this is analytical, statistical breakdowns of different things in behavioral finance, and one of them is on news. Long story short, there has never been a single piece of news or world event that has ever been the cause or change of a dominant trend cycle in the financial world. None. Not ever. That which has been is what will be. That which is done will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. Ecclesiastes 1:9. Basically, we're talking about things just happen in cycles and things repeat. So this is W.D. Gann. Really interesting dude. I'm not going to read all these one by one, but really interesting dude. Yeah, and really grumpy guy. You never had a picture of him smiling. So he was a very devout Christian. His faith had a profound impact on, and his faith and also him being a Mason was a huge influence in his style of analysis and what he developed. But he was somebody who was a man of faith, but also extremely logical and in a way, like, I think most people these days feel like people who are of faith are also illogical, and like you can't be both. You can't be logical and you can't be rational and a person of faith. Gann was definitely. So I mean, and I'm just a normal dude, okay? That's my beautiful, smart wife. Again, like she's a PsyD, not a PhD, so she's a Jedi Master, and like way, way smarter than me and everyone else. I'm the balding idiot there, and then that's my brother. But I'm going to tell you right now, word of warning. Um, a lot of this is going to sound really weird, and good. I'm 15 minutes in, and I haven't even got to much. uh, yeah, so this is going to look really weird, like chicken bones, mind melts, crystal balls, Miss Cleo. Whatever happened to her, by the way? And I love the who's the dude that always talked to dead people. I'm pulling over here to this section. Does anybody over here have a dead relative, friend, acquaintance, or a pet with a name beginning with a letter of the alphabet who died suddenly when their heart stopped? Does this make sense to anybody? Okay, so understanding Gann theory really does require, I hate this phrase, an open mind. I don't know what an open mind is. Um, it's an open mind is an excuse to commit to nothing and believe in everything. I think at some point past 30, you probably have decided on something, and that doesn't mean you're not open minded. You've just made a conclusion. Clearly, I've had an argument about this with my wife recently because I'm going on about this. So, but there's a lot of things in here that are just going to make you go, "Oh, this is stupid." But it just you have to kind of have a mixed brain like Gann. All right. Um, I'm from South Dakota. My wife kidnapped me to Michigan right before the zombie apocalypse. Um, COVID is what that's what I call COVID is the zombie apocalypse. So I promise you, some of this stuff is going to just sound really bizarre and really illogical and out there and just all sorts of stupid. But it's not. It's really really interesting stuff. So just to kind of get like a little taste of what's important in Gann analysis, because we use the science of astronomy. All right. Um, we go like we'll look at things like the moon phases. All right. um, I was in speaking of Texas, I was in Texas a couple years ago, um, doing a thing on trading and talking about Gann analysis, and it's one of these things that you can't talk about in the financial, like among financial professionals. Like this is like a social faux pas to talk about Gann analysis sometimes, especially when you get into the astronomical stuff like moon phases. I always like opened up with this joke. It's like we live in a very accepting, uh well, most of a lot of the world is accepting, but the United States, I mean, like, you know, homosexuality is cool now. You know, like people can marry whoever they want. You can become a lizard if you want to. You can change your gender. You can, like, I mean, there's really like, it, for the most part, everything is cool now. But you still can't talk about moon phases in the financial world. Like that is still a kind of a no. Like that is not okay. But everything else has become more socially acceptable, except for this. But moon phases are important in Gann analysis and in financial analysis, because for whatever reason, things like the euro dollar, you can often find important swing highs and lows during full moons and new moons. And a new moon means that there's like no moon. New moon means no moon. It's like pitch black out. And a full moon means it's very bright. Um, and so like those are new moons, those are full moons. And if you just look at the chart, is there a pretty high correlation to, major minor swing highs and lows being found near these phases? Absolutely. Absolutely. Is it all the time? No, but there's a pretty good amount of them, so that if something is trending and sloping in a trend very high, or very low in a pretty dramatic fashion, that there's a moon phase coming up, you're likely to spot some type of, um, you know, uh, intra swing high or low. Um, Space is pretty cool. I don't ever want to go there, um, just because I don't see the point. but it is cool. One cool fact, I don't know why I put this in here, but it is interesting. All of the planets in the solar system fit in the distance between um, where Earth is and our moon. So when the moon is, oh man, I forget the wording for it. The when the moon is the farthest, it's at Aphelion or Phelion, or I don't remember. Or is that apogee? One of those. But um, yeah, it's pretty interesting that they all fit perfectly inside that gap. That's just kind of cool stuff. Um, so this is a part of Gann analysis as well. So Tony Plummer, life cycle hypothesis. Oh, that was loud. It's actually a follow up to. This was his first book, and the law of vibration. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then the life cycle hypothesis. So the life cycle hypothesis came out in 2018, and this was his picture of the euro dollar, and the last point that he wrote in the book, scanned it, was July of 2017. Well, when I did this slideshow, I mean this was back in July of 2020 is when I did this slideshow, maybe, but it followed the same swing structure. So that's just another part. Is it a coincidence? I don't know. Coincidence really just basically means God made it work. That's what it is. But again, we're talking about things like astronomy, not astrology. Even though in technical analysis, when we're dealing with the astronomical nomenclature, we're using the astrological terms a lot, which is fine. I mean, I don't see a big deal with it, but what I do know, and some of you probably saw this already, so I apologize for those of you, and we're going to get into this charts here in a second, but for those of you who have not seen this little bit here, I mean, this is really interesting. So the first one is this book by David Keller. There's a number of authors who contributed to the book, and Connie Brown's submission was in 2006. So this is published by Bloomberg Press. You can go on Amazon and find this book. It does exist. I have it right over there. God, I better actually show it because it's just like. This is the book. Breakthroughs in Technical Analysis. New Thinking from the World's Top Minds. So this was in 2007. All right. So there's a part in here that she writes about. Actually, one of the things interesting in here is in Gann's book in Gann, not in his book, but he had written in one of his articles that you can go on the Library of Congress and find Gann's old newspaper articles, but he had written in there why the United States will lose the war. Why Hitler will lose the war, about the coming war with Germany before the United States even entered the war. In a nutshell, Gann predicted that the U.S. would go in there and win, and that Hitler would lose. So, yeah. But this is what Connie wrote. Again, this is in 2006. She wrote, Gann's methods warn the years 2008 to 2012 will be difficult ones. All right. And you're like, oh, okay. Like, so she was a couple years ahead of time. Even crazier was this next part. There will also be an economic contraction that will be felt globally between 2019 and 2021, which is a little bit lagging because so Jackson Hole Symposium is going on right now. The inflation that we're experiencing is totally transitory, meaning temporary. Sure it is. I made a chicken, a whole chicken last night for my family, and I pulled it out of the freezer. And I had bought it last May, and it was 99 cents a pound. Chicken right now, the average prices according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics is $1.72. If that's transitory inflation, I don't. Yeah, it's not going away anytime soon. Okay, deeper studies of technical analysis. I mean, we're just going to talk about a couple more things. We're going to look at charts. I mean, Fibonacci analysis is very highly correlative to Gann analysis. For those of you unfamiliar with Fibonacci ratios, they're everywhere. All right, they are everywhere. Like, it's freaky how constant this ratio is in nature, and not just here on Earth, but in all of creation. It's just everywhere. It's nuts. It's very, very, it's really weird. A lot of these kinds of things, and like one of them is math is weird, but like the mean distance of the major asteroid series is 1618. It's a golden ratio. Just really interesting stuff. So that concludes that. So let's how the hell does all of this apply to trading and looking at analysis with financial markets and cryptocurrencies? Like, how is this applicable to anything? Well, let's just kind of look at some of those things. Let's look at Bitcoin. And I want to show this real quick too. I'm going to go through these slides really fast because you guys can pause this when it's available and write these down. But this is really the intro into Gann analysis. And this is all time-based stuff. And I want you to go through these things by yourself when you have free time and check some of these things out on your own. So Gann has a lot of cycles, and again, time cycles are a resistance in time to the trend in force. So let's talk about some of these cycles here. We don't need the numbers, but forecasting weekly tops and bottoms, ignore that, blah, blah, blah. We don't need this. Okay, cycles of the inner year. This is what I've been talking about in my cryptocurrency videos quite a bit, are these cycles. And there's specific days of the month, dates of the month that are important. Master 12 chart, we're not going to be able to go over that here at all. Gann analysis is just freaking nuts, by the way. It takes years to study. But the first cycle, all right, is the 45-day cycle. This is what Gann wrote, that, after 45 days in a trend, it can reverse that. It can reverse that trend. So if something's been trending up or down for 45 days, that 45th day can be the termination move. Now, technically in Gann analysis, he calls it his death zone. The death cycle is a 49-day move, 49 to 52 days. And we've had one of those occur. That's the one I've been referencing the most lately. We've had one of those occur just recently in a lot of our cryptocurrency markets. Sorry, not Bitcoin. Like Cardano would be one. I'm trying to think of a crypto that has actually had the 45-day cycle show up. Of course, I say that now and I'm doing a live example, and I'm like not showing a great example of one at all. Oh well, we'll find others, but we have had some of them. The 90-day cycle. Now this is the most important one. And basically what we're saying is that you identify a high or low. All right. So let's say we were looking at, let's just look at Bitcoin. All right. So we're looking at this swing high. If you knew that was a swing high, like a couple weeks go by, what you would want to do is look 90 days, or it's not just calendar days. It's 90. You can use, cryptocurrencies, it doesn't matter because they're open 24 hours. but we project forward 90 days, and what we're basically saying is between 90 to 99 days, we should expect some type of swing low or high. You said polygon. Wow, that is awesome. You know why? Because that means people were watching what I was talking about. And what I was saying had enough of an impact that you remembered. So that's awesome. Thank you, guys. That really warms my heart. The 90-day cycle in Gann analysis, that can go to 99 days. And he wrote against extreme momentum or pitch. I have no idea what the definition of that is. But so I've stopped trying to. I stopped a while ago to try to figure out. Well, is this extreme momentum or pitch? I have no idea. So I look at the 90-day cycle as going out to 99 days too. So anywhere between 90 to 99 days, from any major high or low, you should probably make a measurement of that. So we had this big like flash move down here in May. Fast forward into 90 to 99 days, where are we at? Where we are right here. So that's a 90-day cycle. Those are the most important ones. High probabilities of support and resistance being found there. You should watch for trend changes, essentially. Then you have the 120-day cycle. Basically, think of this one as the pullback, all right? That if something's in an uptrend, or it's beginning an uptrend, and you were going from a low to a high, then the 120-day will probably be a swing low, all right? Like if you're thinking of Elliott wave, that would be like the wave 2 ending, the ending of wave 2. If that makes sense. 135-day cycle. Haven't in cryptocurrencies, at least I haven't seen this one to be overly important. It is another 45-day cycle, but yeah 144-day cycle, that's a good one to pay attention to. He really didn't write much more about it. He wrote that it can terminate movements. It's one of the most important day counts. I didn't add this in here, I don't know why, but he wrote that it was often misapplied by his students. One of the notorious things about Gann is that like he never really explained. He made you find stuff on your own. And if I have some time, I want to like one of the coolest stories. They should make a movie about this stuff. But I'll get into that here. But 180-day cycle, that's the next most important after the 90-day cycle. So 180 days from any major swing high or low, you should pay attention to. And by the way, don't just look at like extreme high and low swings, like any major swing. So like this swing high, that was an important swing. So 90 days from that, from swing high to swing high, that was the high in April. 180 days from that was what? This swing low over here. And this is what you want to do on your charts is find these major minor swings, project forward in time, and what you're going to get is when you start to see collections of these cycles kind of falling within a range of each other within a week, that's something that you should zero in on and focus on. And you don't have to necessarily know that is, you're not, I mean, in the beginning of your studies in Gann analysis, don't focus on identifying what price level it's going to be. Oftentimes, it's more important to know that is a level to look at, that you will probably find some type of important high or low. And you should be able to determine a couple weeks ahead of time if the market is trending, whether that's going to be a high or low, because then you can figure out where to position yourself and to get in really early on the right side of the market before everybody else does. So that's something else you should take away from this lesson. Today is the 99th day from the all-time high for Aave. Does this look like a good example of a possible reversal? Yeah, without even looking at it, absolutely. But I want to look at it now. There you are. This is the, yeah. If 90 to 99 days from the all-time high, absolutely. Yeah, that's something you should pay. Definitely would be a warning sign that a high was in, or some type of important high or low. 180-day cycle, that's important. 216, I don't know, 225, 240. None of these I've really ever noticed having much of a, like, they're only important if they line up with other swing levels, other time cycles, I should say. On their own, they don't seem to have a lot of weight, not like the 90-day cycles do. And when I'm saying like 90, you go from 90, 180, 270. So the 270-day cycle is the next most important after Fung. All right. How you doing? 270. Next most important day after the 180-day cycle. It could start a 90-day cycle, which ends a 260-year cycle. Can I drop my Patreon link in the chat? Yeah. I feel like a sleaze for doing that, but I will do it if somebody requests it. Why do I feel like a sleaze? I don't know. I just I will promise. I might I'll do that, but I promise the day you see me wearing some like douche t-shirt or some like stupid hat with a flat bill like cocked off to like 120-degree angle, let me know and I will burn the channel to the ground. I never if I'm trying to like sell, oh my god, I hate influencers. I just think they are the worst people. I really do. Like I've only ever seen like somebody doing the like thing with like once, but I like, I don't know, does anybody else want to punch people who are doing that? Because that, I feel like I need to, way off topic. 270-day cycle, 315, and then you have the 360-day cycle. So that's an important one. Now there are seasonal dates that are super important. And I'm going to tell you what they are, and they're going to sound really interesting because they're not very interesting. So you can just write these dates down, okay? March 21st, June 21st, September 23rd, and December 22nd. Anybody know what dates those are? Why they are important? What dates? What do they represent? I know there's a delay, so it gives me a good time to have a little coffee. Oh wait, that's actually not my Patreon, is it? Hold on, I know this. How about that? There we go. I just put the link to the thing. There we go. There we go. Actually came up with a channel name on a rant like I just kind of had with my wife, because we were watching one of her shows, the Bachelorette, something, I don't know. I don't like I do love Paradise. What's the one with Paradise? It's just like, there's just something about watching people really like be idiots and destroy themselves emotionally for entertainment. I don't know, it's a guilty pleasure. Anyways, but I was complaining about like getting peppered with these YouTube suggestions to watch Tool number one like talk about with big letters like, "I'll find out how you can make $1 million with Bitcoin with this one simple trick." And I was like, how are these people even around doing this? Why do people watch it? Isn't there somebody who isn't there like people who provide just analysis? Because that's what people want. They don't want to like a 50-minute spiel about blah blah blah. Just like get to the goddamn point. And that's where like the name came out of. Anyways, these dates, these are the seasons. Like March 21st, spring. June 21st, summer. September 23rd, fall. December 22nd, winter. Those dates, for whatever reason, they show up as really important. Like swing dates. Like what I mean by swing dates is you often find a lot of swing highs and lows around there. It's just, I don't know why that is. It just is. So like with even with Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin's chart, and if we like Optima is the best Gann software on the planet. Optima does. It's also really expensive. Like Gann, their Gann and the Gann tools and the astronomical tools are like $7,000. It's a little nutty, but um, Gann seasonal dates. I'm not saying that to like brag. Oh, I spent like I'm a huge nerd. I spent $7,000 on it. It's like I don't know. If people don't think $7,000 is a lot of money, then congratulations on not being normal. But so these are like the seasonal dates: the summer, spring, fall, winter. And looking at Bitcoin's chart, there is a pretty good amount of important major minor swing highs and lows that are found around these seasonal dates. I hope that you can see these all right. Maybe if I change the color here, if it will let me. Weird that it doesn't. Oh, black, thicker lines. There we go. So yeah, that's it really does. Man. And the unfortunate thing about that is that there are people who are honestly looking for good information. And one of the things I really am PO'd about in my field is that professional analysts and professional traders, I mean, they're not like they're not doing anything to go out there and advocate for proper information being put out. They're not out there tearing down these shysters and these wolves in sheep's clothing. They're not doing anything about it. They just let it happen. And I think that's a good condemnation of the field, that they are doing nothing to make it better. Is what I guess is what I'm saying. Anyways, seasonal dates. Yes. All right. So let's look at some things that are useful. And oh shoot, where did I put it? Okay, well, we were looking at this. So this is Gann's square of 9. This is one of his forecasting tools that he developed. And what it is, it's a tool where you can project important price levels that have never been traded before. You can project future price levels at a future date. So, for example, let's just let's just pretend that we were back in March of 2020. All right. And we were looking at that swing low at 4,463. And so there's different ways to do square 9, but 4,463, the square root of it is 66. So we're going to go with 67. So I'm going to go back to the square of 9. I'm going to start at 67. And you'll notice that it goes around in a circle, even though it's in a square. Yeah, 97, 103, 109, 115. Then we get into the next one, and it just kind of goes around like this, like that game Snake. And you'll notice that there's an angular relationship. So to the left of 67 is 360 degrees. So every number here is 360 degrees. Then you have 180 degrees on the right. 90-degree levels are above. 270-degree levels are below. Well, thank you for that. It's my goal. My desire would be to steal all of those douchebags' viewers and have them come over here. Yeah, that's my goal. I'm very passionate I'm very militant against some of these people who, I mean, probably have great intentions, but especially the ones that are like teaching trading strategies, like, and they're using information that is 15, 20, 30 years old. I mean, the people with the best intentions are the worst because they don't even realize that they are shilling poison. I mean, they have the good. I mean, you can't argue against intentions. All right. you can't. You have to argue against results. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's nice that there are people out there who want to actually do stuff like this, but for the love of God, make sure you know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah. So let's just do the same thing that we did here. You can do the square root, or you can look at it like we can go back to the default and you can decimatize these values. So we could go with, what was that low? What was that? 4,485. So we can just say, we'll just say 45. Yeah, 45. What did I say? 4,400 and, oh God, I better look at the right number. 4,467. So we'll go for like 446. So if we go to the square 9, we can go with like start price 446. Look to the left and we'll see these values, and we'll just kind of, look at price levels that were probably important in the future. Maybe I have to expand this out a little bit. Oops. Add some more rings. Oh boy, joy. So, as they expand, like was from that low was 15,500 important. Just that kind of stuff. You'd go around it. I'm going to do another, like next Thursday, we're going to focus on this a little bit more, but the main point I wanted to make for this session tonight, because I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself over here. The main thing I wanted to like have people focus on was look at, whatever crypto, whatever instrument, whether stock market, whatever, go through the important swings and, from the past, and then do it for the future too. So let's start off from that new all-time high. 270 days is in January. All right, 180 days is. So I hope this goes without saying when we're talking, like the 90-day cycle can go out to 99 days. That means the 180-day cycle can go to 198 days and so forth. So the 180-day cycle is in October from the all-time high. 270-day cycle. I would just do it for the 90-day divisions. 270 is out there, and then obviously the 360 goes all the way back to April of 2022 for that swing. So then let's look at the swing low here from July 20th. We get close to that, and might want to color code them differently so that's just me though. So here's like the 90-day cycle that's in October, and I'm going to change the color to blue. Why not? The 180-day goes out to here. 270 out to there. So we're getting in the state range of, April 9th through April 16th. The moon phases are going to come in here again, okay? The moon phases are going to come in here in a second. So those are swings. We projected from this prior swing high that was 90, then 180 days from that, 270 days from that swing high is over here. So there's a whole lot of stuff pointing to October. And again, in January, we like 360 is close to that whatever that one is. It's a 90-day cycle. So, I mean, this is what you should be doing. But TradingView doesn't do this, so you'll have to like go to Google and type in moon phases. Okay. And check these dates for the new moons and full moons. So the ones that are coming up let's look at October. What do we got? October 6th and October 20th. Oh, October 20th is my birthday. So October 6th, there is a new moon, full moon phase. All right. October 20th, same time. It's the one when the moon phase, the one that's at the end of the collection of time cycles, that's the one that's important. So it'd be the 20th of October. That'd be an important date to take a look at as a turning point in the market. So if the market is trending down this whole time, you have to wait for all these cycles to kind of culminate, and then the moon phase is kind of the final trigger, so to speak. That's part of it. So that's that. And then is there anything like in January that shows up here? We've got, let's go to 2022. January 2nd is a new moon. Oops. But the one after that is in January 20th. Is that right? January 25th. So January 25th. That's another inflection date to pay attention to. So again, these are zones that you want to project forward in time and pay attention to. The other cycle, the 144 day, is probably a good one to work off of as well, and see if there's any confluent zones there. But yeah, that's basically that. If you've got some questions, go ahead and ask them. I want to grab this book real quick just to go over the So this is the most nerdy thing I own, maybe. But this is Connie Brown, her latest book that came out. She signed it for me, super special. I was one of the first books recipients. Corresponded on a few things in here too, before it came out. But the 32nd Jewel. Now, Gann wrote everything down kind of secretively, not secretively, that sounds kind of cliche, but hold on one sec here, I gotta check these positions. Okay, just moving that into profit, and then that as well. Cool. All right. But Gann left a lot of the clear messaging about what his stuff, and some of his secret formulas. He didn't pass them on to his family. He got married a few times, and his son, who would have been his heir, they had a falling out, and Gann instead gave all of his stuff to his pilot, Eleanor Smith, and she was one of the first female pilots. There should be a movie about her because she set a lot of world records for aviators, but because she was a woman, the records had to be written under a male pilot. But that's been rectified, I guess. I don't know. She's a big deal in the aviation community, but that was his private pilot that he had, and he willed his briefcase and all those contents to her. But nobody could figure out where she lived. There were Gann analysts around the world who were trying to track her down, and Connie finally did. And this is stuff like, this is like Indiana Jones type stuff. If I can figure out, she has a whole chapter on it in here. This is just the coolest stuff. It's called the email read. That's the name of the chapter. The email read, "Why don't you ask her? Eleanor Smith is still alive." Because Eleanor Smith was really, she was in when Connie went to go meet her. Eleanor was in a nursing home, and she died actually shortly after she met Connie, I believe. But so, I don't want to go through the whole story, but basically, the suitcase. This is the suitcase on Connie's front porch. Again, let me see if I can. What's up here? This is the picture of it, and the briefcase contained all of Gann's. And see, Connie Brown is awesome because she's a trader and an analyst, and she spent years compiling her knowledge together, and she shared it with us in a book. So she didn't hide this knowledge. She shared it. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to pick this up and know what the hell is going on, though, because it's quite full. But basically, what happened is people have been looking for Gann's stuff for a while, and she discovered it. And basically, in a nutshell, what happened is she showed up, and Eleanor Smith basically said, he said when somebody came to find me that person was to have this briefcase. And she gave it to Connie. And so Connie inherited Gann's legacy of, like over half a century since he, well, yeah, over half a century since he died. Just fascinating stuff. And inside was, she's got some images of it. And then, like, this is like national treasure stuff. So Gann was a 32nd degree Mason, and some of the things that he had to research himself. He spent years studying Egyptian, Indian, Greek, and Phoenician math, and he ended up going to the Masonic temple in Britain, and he had his 32nd jewel, which is it's a basically where is that? Well, anyways, in his briefcase was all of his Masonic items as well. And Connie went to the temple in Britain and presented these things to the chief librarian, and they were kind of shocked that she had access to these things, but that she had them, and she's been the only woman in history who was permitted access these kind of esoteric, geometric, math stuffs, and she put all these things together. So it's pretty fascinating stuff. It's really interesting story, and I mean, she spent her career deciphering and studying his work. And you can get her. It's called the 32nd Jewel. It really it is like it should be a movie. This is the book. It's like 8 pounds, and it's over 1,000 pages long. It's like 1,100 pages long. It's filled with stuff, but it was an eye-opening book. It reminded me of when I got Lords of the Realm 2 for Christmas when I was younger, or when I played Command and Conquer the first time. I could not sleep when I got this book. I was up for days, note taking and perusing and charting and just going 100% nerd mode. But yeah, that's essentially the intro into Gann Analysis. So next week, I'm going to expand on this more and jibber jabber less, and get into some of the geometry components that I know people want. I'm going to teach you how to square a chart, so you can construct charts that look like, oh gosh, clearly I've not done this in a while. I use Optima almost all the time now, but I haven't even anything drawn on these. Oh yeah, so like this kind of stuff. And I want to show folks how to take, I don't know if you can see this very well or not, but this is essentially we're trying to, with Gann's geometry, we're trying to interpret a three-dimensional object onto a two-dimensional plane. And the best way that I could describe that is kind of something like this right here. All right. So you see how in these arcs, these two blue arcs and these two green arcs, it's like, think of them as support and resistance. What you have to imagine is that they are trend lines. All right. But we're used to seeing trend lines do this, right? They're just straight lines. Over time, though, they bend. All right. So as time moves on, they bend, they slope up, and then they slope down. These arcs are representing those trend lines that are natural, and it's reflecting the contour of those straight lines that get bent over time. That's what those. That's kind of what I don't even know if that's explaining anything really that makes any sense, but in a nutshell, that is what we are looking at, because you have to stop looking at markets as random, and you have to stop looking at a chart like it represents the fundamentals of an instrument. Like for cryptocurrencies, for example, like somebody made a comment once that, oh, blah blah blah, why are you bearish? Because the fundamentals are so strong. It's like, I don't care about fundamentals. Like I've done videos on cryptocurrency I don't know anything about, because I really don't care. I mean, whether they are a scam coin or not, it doesn't matter to me. Does it have structure and can it be traded? That's all that matters. You got to stop looking at things like fundamentals matter, or that I mean, some fundamentals obviously matter, but a chart is a natural phenomena, and it has its own life that is detached from, you know, everything else. So, yeah, that's about that. So that will conclude my really poor intro to Gann, and next week we'll do a little bit more, and I'll put a little bit more of a description in it so that it's a little bit more um, helpful, I guess, to what I'm doing. And you'll only need TradingView for this for next week, because we're gonna go to how to square a chart and go through that. So, and if you're somebody who doesn't like to use drawing tools, if all you like to do is throw indicators like in oscillators, you're probably not going to want to come to this, because it does require a little bit of work. Technical analysis greater than fundamentals. Abso-freaking-lutely. Yeah. No doubt. That's it. All right. Thank you guys for coming and for your participation. Really appreciate it, and hope you guys found something useful.